It's now time for On the Line with Cheryl Wilkerson. The conversation will range from local dialogue to international. This show is meant to enlighten, inform, and to inspire. On the Line with Cheryl Wilkerson begins now.
Hello and welcome to On the Line with Cheryl Wilkerson. So glad on a Sunday afternoon to spend it with you. We do this every Sunday from 12 until 12:30. Best part of the day. Get to talk to people, learn about what's going on in the area, internationally, all of that. Today, I have brought to you a young man that you've been wanting to hear from. You probably have been going about your life saying, you know what, I need an update. I need to know what's going on. And so today, I am delivering that in the form of a man that works so hard in the community. Reverend Mark Blue. He is a pastor. He is a president. He has been working for civil rights in the Buffalo, New York area for a long time. And he's joining us today because we certainly want to get an update on how our brothers and sisters are doing in Buffalo, New York after that heinous attack on them going to the grocery store. That heinous attack, we want to get an update on the people and what is going on. So, Reverend Blue, welcome to On the Line.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. It's just been a whirlwind, a roller coaster, an emotional spin on life. But we have been maintaining and trying to go forward in spite of this atrocious attack on our community.
Reverend Blue, first and foremost, give us a little bit more to your background. I let everybody know that you have been out here fighting for racial equity for a long time, but give us a little bit more of your background.
Well, I've been pastoring the Second Baptist Church. I'm going into my 21st year of pastoring.
Congratulations.
And I'm also, thank you. And I'm also the president of the local chapter of the NAACP. I've been involved in the NAACP for a long time, and this is my third term as president of the NAACP for the Buffalo area. So it's been a fight, and we had some knockdown, dragouts, but we have been successful in helping to create a better community. Mm-hmm. This tragedy has thrown a lot of water on some of the accomplishments that we've made, and also, it has highlighted some of the inequities in the community with our government, from our state to our local. So we're working diligently, trying to strategize plans going forward that can move our community in a better light. This attack on us on the 14th of May brought to the fact that we're living in what is called a food apartheid. And let me explain that. The food apartheid, when you look at apartheid, it's dealing with social economical issues and statuses of a community. Some people would like to say food insecurity. Yeah, but some people would like to say a food desert. Mm-hmm. A food desert is a man-made thing, but food apartheid is not man-made. A food desert is a natural thing, mm-hmm. but food apartheid is man-made. So when we look at this, a lot of things could have been done to curb this and avoid this, to where we're not an easy sitting target of this white supremacy. I'm not faulting I'm putting the blame on us as a culture, us as a nation. We need to make sure we safeguard our communities. But let me also say that no one could ever imagine this happening to us. To say if we're complacent, maybe a little bit, mm-hmm. but to say that we would ever imagine this happening with the way things have been going on in our community, we were thinking that everything was well in our community until something like this happened, to where an individual can come in and target our community by looking at strategically what's going on in our community and seeing that there's one place in which everybody goes to, and he monopolized that and he plagiarized that by doing his own surveillance and coming to an understanding that there's no other community no other supermarket in this community. So this is a place where everybody goes and everybody congregates. Mm-hmm. So this is an easy target for me to make sure I can cause the most damage and havoc, and make sure I can put my own scenario and my own ideology out here. So we were easy sitting targets, and we have to, as a community, not just in Buffalo but everywhere, look at our surroundings and strategically, and I dare say militarily, see where our weaknesses are. Because what happened here, he pointed out a weakness to where we had one supermarket in our local community to which everybody can come to. And that community, that supermarket, there's about maybe 2 to 3 miles to where there's no other supermarket in that area. So it was everybody can come here, and here's where I can cause the most damage to this community and fuel my hate.
But Reverend Blue, after Mother Emanuel, did that not scare people? I don't know if that's the right word, but make people aware enough that this could really happen to us anytime, any place.
But complacency.
Yeah.
Complacency overtakes that thought.
Mm-hmm.
And we thought we were safe. Mm-hmm. And I say to every community in America, you're not safe. You need to work on safety on an annual basis to make sure that the community is safe, that the seniors are safe, that the children are safe. No indictment, but I'm saying we can't be complacent as a society because complacency will lull us to sleep while the enemy comes in and takes over. Right. And we can no longer do that. We have to be proactive wherever we go. It's sad that we have to revert back to this, but it's necessary. We have to look at escape routes. We have to look at how we're going to maneuver if something were to happen. In school, we used to have fire drills.
Yes.
And those fire drills prepared us for if there was a fire. They also have tornado drills in areas, especially in Georgia, where you're prone to this. So, we have to train for this, and we cannot any longer be complacent. We have to be proactive in what we're doing. In Buffalo, a lot of measures have been taken, and we're still working on a strategy for, and let me say it this way, Black America. What's our plan on how we want things to happen and develop? We see the inconsistencies. We see the inequities that have been plaguing us. Now it's time for us to stand up and mobilize even more so in a proactive way to get things done in our community. It's going to take an assertive effort on all parts of government. Now we see this. Now what are you going to do to help us overcome this and make things better? Not to say that we still have grieving that is still going to take place, and that has taken us and set us back a great many years. But now we have to deal with this and try to go forward in everything we do.
How are the survivors doing? Is TOPS still open? Give us an update.
Well, that TOPS currently is not open, but they've done a massive remodeling job, and they're slated to open again by the end of July. Okay. So, there's no other grocery store there, and I know it's going to be a traumatic experience. The PTSD is real. Post-traumatic stress syndrome is real. And sometimes the triggers could be just going to that area, just going to that parking lot, just going through those doors. And I've heard and seen and witnessed several others who went there and said the whole place has been totally remodeled. But still, we walk in those same steps. You cannot replace those steps. The parking lot is still the same.
Parking lot is still the same. And so we have people that actually lost their lives there. And then we have people that work there. And since the store was closed, did they lose their livelihood while TOPS has been closed? Or were they able to get from the fund that I heard? I heard there was a fund. You can help me with that. A survivors fund, yes. I think they called it. How did all that work? Right. Who decided who gets what from the survivors fund, and has it been distributed?
Well, let me deal with the first one.
Okay.
TOPS employees have been getting paid.
Wonderful.
TOPS has been doing a good job at making sure their employees are getting paid. Also, they've been making sure that their employees have been getting counseling.
Wonderful.
So that is a plus, but still, you still have drama of individuals going back into that store and working in that store. Even those who weren't working that day have been getting compensated and been getting counseling.
Wonderful.
So that has been something that's good, but still, you still deal with the tragedy of that. On the second question regarding the survivors and the Survivors Fund, I am one of the co-chairs of the Survivors Fund, the 514 Survivors Fund, and the progress has been this. We have been working with the National Compensation Organization, and they have been very good in helping us to move this along because, there's no playbook for something like this that happens in a community. Mm-hmm. But they have worked with us, and they're still working with us. The funds have not been distributed as of yet. We're still waiting for some more of the donations to come in. We have, for instance, Tim Hortons has a donut that they're selling, and the proceeds of that go to the Survivors Fund. The Buffalo football team has a T-shirt that they're selling, and the proceeds of that go to the Survivors Fund. And it takes time for all of those monies and pledges to come in. Mm-hmm. The Survivors Fund currently has about $3.5 million in it. And one of the things that we're doing, because the steering committee, we have a steering committee of residents, of philanthropy, and of media that's helping us in this. The Survivors Fund, we have put out a protocol, a projected protocol paper that we have to which the community can come and talk about that. We have an open community meeting on the 21st of July at one of the local high schools. And we are asking the community to come in and just let's talk, let's dialogue, let's have this town hall where you can express yourself as well. But we look at the 5 categories that we have, and then those who have been mostly affected, and that includes death of a loved one. And then you have those who are injured, and you have those who worked in the store, and you also have those who work at the store. And another category are the customers who were in the store.
That were in
so,
there.
So we're going to be working, listening to the community, then putting together the final protocol to where those who have been affected can apply. And then based on the category that they're in, some type of compensation will be given, but mostly it will be toward those who have loved ones who have deceased, perished in this attack, and then those who have been injured. Then it will go down from there. Everybody won't receive the same thing, but it's based on severity and also based on the application. We've been working to try to get this information out to all so people can weigh in and see how the draft protocol is designed. We have it all laid out, and I would encourage even some of your listeners who would like to help these families, who would like to donate. You can go to nationalcompensation.org, and you can scroll down to the Survivors Fund, the 514 Survivors Fund, Buffalo, and you can make a contribution there. No amount of money can replace a loved one. No amount of money can take out the horror of being a victim or receiving or being shot in that instance. Mm-hmm. But this is just a gift that will be given to those who apply and help in some way. Again, no amount of money can replace or restore or even come to comfort an individual who has been affected in this mass shooting, this horrific shooting of this white supremacist.
We are talking to Reverend Mark Blue. He is the president of the Buffalo chapter of the NAACP, if you're just joining us, and he's given us an update to the community about the community and how they're doing since that ugly shooting that took place, as he said, back in May of this year. And I wanted to ask you, Reverend Blue, when you talk about they're getting the counseling and the care they need, when it comes to physical illnesses that people sustained in that attack, they're not being charged for that, right? And even the counseling, all of that is free of charge?
Correct.
And
Correct. All of the counseling is free.
And you having the background in health that you do, you are satisfied with the treatment, because you said you do not like for African Americans to be mistreated. So you are pleased with the help all the way around, the mental health and the physical health treatment that they are getting.
I am currently satisfied today.
Okay. All right. I hear that. That sounds like you are monitoring the case very closely. That's what that sounds like.
Absolutely. We have to be proactive in this and making sure, and I applaud that there being cultural sensitivity in this. Because some people just don't get it.
They don't. It's not in their world. It's never been in their world. They can't imagine it. Reverend Blue, I have people, when something happens and the Black community is in an uproar, I have people from other races that will hit me up and say, Cheryl, we don't understand this. Why is this upsetting? They do not get it. I mean, they might get it after I explain it to them. Some do, some don't. But the onset, it's not their world. They never had to deal with it. They don't get it.
You're absolutely right. And there was a famous writer who said, you have to walk in another person's shoes. And even if you walk in those shoes, depending on where you walk, you still won't get the same effect. Mm-hmm. So
right.
They don't get it. They really don't. They really, really don't. And because when we look at what's going on in America, still people have said slavery did not exist, have said the Holocaust was just all made up. Mm-hmm. But we have to deal with the actual history. And that's what's upsetting, is that the real history isn't being taught in schools. So they're void of this, and they're oblivious to this. Racism is real.
Yes.
It has happened. Many people have died. Families have been upset and destroyed through hangings and lynchings. So they don't get it. They put it in their past and say, oh, no, that didn't happen. But let's be real. A lot of African Americans did not make it or survive because of the lynchings that went on and the beatings that have taken place and the mass graves that have been covered up. If you go into our history, you find that even Abraham Lincoln, he was bad. Mm-hmm. So although the Emancipation Proclamation and also the Juneteenth, the freedom, still he had some issues and some reservations. Thomas Jefferson, the same way. George Washington, the same way. If you look in our history, there are plenty of African-American babies whose fathers have abandoned them. And I'm talking about from the founding fathers of our country.
Correct.
So history has to be truthful about this. And they do have children. George Washington, his descendants still have some Black children in their family. Thomas Jefferson, all of them.
Yes, all of them.
We have to look at this fact, and it can't be swept under the rug. The truth has to come out, and America has to deal with the truth. They haven't.
Do you see healing going on at any degree within the Buffalo community? Do you see other groups? Do you see politicians reaching out to you, Reverend Blue? Do you see people that don't look like you that are sincerely trying and are being helpful?
Yes. I have our Jewish colleagues. They have been stellar in reaching out and offering whatever help is needed.
That reminds me of the 1960s with the Jewish people helping with the civil rights movement.
And that is correct, because when you look at everything, the birth of the civil rights movement really started in Buffalo, New York. Mm-hmm. The Niagara movement
yes,
started here in Buffalo, New York.
Yes, it did.
The only reason it's called Niagara movement is because of the racism that was here. So they went to Niagara Falls, Canada, to have their meeting.
That's it.
But all of their meetings, preliminary meetings, took place here in Buffalo, New York. So the precursor for the NAACP has its roots here in Buffalo, New York. So when we look at all of that, our Jewish colleagues have been stellar in helping out and supporting, and whatever we need, they've been there. Our political colleagues as well have been opening arms and helping out to reach our community because it has affected us. It has truly affected us. Even the businesses have been reaching out because it has truly affected us. And a lot of them are seeing now the role that they may have, the role that they're in, and how they can help be a part of erasing the prejudice and the inequities that have been in our community. So what you're seeing actually is what this white supremacist wanted to do was destroy us, but what it has done, it is kind of galvanizing our community, and people are now coming together to do things on purpose instead of in vacuum. So again, when we first talked, there was no rioting, there was no looting, there was no destroying of our community, there were no breaking of windows, overturning of vehicles. Our community has responded to this, to where now a lot of things are happening for the good. And my hope and prayer is that we continue in this momentum to bring restoration and to bring more of the healing, and for businesses to come into our community and to do more work in helping people not give a hand out, but helping them with a hand up. So it's very important. Handouts are what you would give, and you will continue to give. But if you give a hand up, now we can continue to survive and thrive on our own. So it's coming to that point that even the local pantries and the food co-ops, we're all cooperating together, and we're all working in a driving force to make sure our community is better from after this tragedy.
Reverend Blue, do you see more grocery stores coming to that area of Buffalo?
That is our hope, but a lot of grocery stores, I know Wegmans, I'm going to put them on blast. They're not even looking at coming into this community, but we need more. We need more. We don't need to be a target any longer. And one of the things that I recognize is that people eat. People will buy groceries.
Yes.
This is one of the one of the things that we do. We will survive. This is one of the health impediments that we do. We need food. We need fresh produce. We need fresh meat. So another grocery store will survive. Jefferson Avenue was a thriving place to where we had multiple grocery stores in the area, but now it has twinkled down to one. And let me say that this is almost the 20th anniversary of this Tops in this community. Wow. So yes, and it's been there for that period of time, and it has survived. It has maintained, and another one will come. It should come, and it will maintain and survive as well. We have to have faith in our community, and others need to have faith in our community as well.
Reverend Blue, earlier you were talking about the fact that we need to be aware and we need to know what's going on. And as a pastor of your church, do you have security in your church? Do you tell other churches, look, this is real. Our community has been through this. You need to have security in your churches.
Well, that's a double-edged sword. We just had a training from the FBI and from the local police force here in the city of Buffalo, and they're offering more services on how you can secure your place of worship.
Okay.
We just had that training, and there's a lot of material out there, a lot of help out there for the congregations, for the different houses of faith. A lot of people say, well, can we have guns? You have a right to bear arms. Let's make that plain and let's make that clear. But in some churches, you have that right to bear arms. Concealed carry is something that you have a right to do now. Our local government has placed a bill saying that they don't really want everybody to do concealed carry, and I agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
They're doing a lot more to make sure individuals are trained in doing what they need to do. But in houses of worship, I know some that have security. You wouldn't know it.
Right.
But it's not like we're having a whole security force come in and patting people down and having them walk through and being wand. That's not what it's all about. But we do have to have a sense of security, a sense of urgency, a sense of what we're going to do as a congregation if something were to happen. So it's hide, run, and fight. Those are the steps. If you can't hide,
mm-hmm.
and if you can't do anything else, if you can't run, then you have to fight. So, yes.
Reverend Blue, I was going to say we're almost running out of time, but I want to ask you this. It's been over a little over a week now, but tell me what went through your head when you heard about the July 4th shootings in Chicago. What immediately did you think, Reverend Blue?
Well, just think of in Texas, and now we have this. What is the world coming to? Mm-hmm. We have to stop. We have to, and these are assault weapons. Assault weapons have no place on the street.
Mm-hmm.
But I understand that if you're not in the military, actively in the military, or a police officer, I understand that our criminals are trying to outgun our police officers. So I can understand the parity, but they don't belong in the hands of those who are not in the police force or those who are not actively serving in the military. There has to be a stop on these type of weapons because, as you see, the last couple of shootings have been with assault rifles, and we have to stop this as a community, as a country. We have to stop this. Yes, you have a right to bear arms, but military arms shouldn't be in the hands of civilians.
Right. Some kind of way it always turns to you're trying to take away my guns and you're trying to do away with my Second Amendment, and it's not that at all. We just go to the extreme because we don't want to deal with the real problem. So we just jump to this extreme, and it just drives me mad. If you are just joining us, I'm talking to Reverend Mark Blue. He is the president of the Buffalo chapter of the NAACP, and he has given us an update today on how things are going in Buffalo. So is it a time for me to take a trip to Buffalo just to see my brothers and sisters and see how they're doing, or do they need some time with people staying away? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, it's mixed. It's mixed. It's mixed. You know, we realize that once the media leaves, a lot of the publicity and a lot of the hype goes too. But we are here to help, to bridge the gap, to bring the pieces back together, and to let people know that we haven't forgotten and we're still with you. We're not leaving. We're still going to do what we need to do as a community because we're all in this together. We're not on an island. What affects me affects you, and we're all hurting, and we all need to heal together.
Pastor, did you personally know any of those that died in that shooting?
Indirectly, because a tight-knit community.
Yes.
You know, you see them, you wave to them. You know how we do. We nod when we see one another.
I love that about us, yes.
You know, so indirectly, I knew some, and I attended the funerals, but directly, I did not. And I know that in meeting them, I knew some of the family members of. So in our community, we know one another.
We do. We know it. And the fallout continues because I read recently that the branch was postponing the Medgar Evers Awards dinner.
Yes. We look at the emphasis. We need to heal right now, and we wanted more healing to come.
So it would have normally been in June, but you've moved it to October?
October the 22nd. It would have been June 25th, which is roughly 4 weeks after, but we moved it to October the 22nd because we want to focus on the greatest need. And the greatest need of our community is to heal and to make sure that we have food security in the community.
You have been listening to Reverend Mark Blue. He is the president of the Buffalo chapter of the NAACP. He is also the pastor of Second Baptist Church, Lackawanna. Am I saying that correctly?
Yes, you are.
And soon to be Dr. Mark Blue, right?
Oh, no, not me. That's my daughter-in-law. She got her doctorate.
Okay. Oh, you said not me, like I'm not just studying another book on that. Okay.
No, I'm still studying. Still working, but she has achieved that title, and she has worked very hard in that. So my daughter-in-law, Kanasha Blue, has done a stellar work for what she's doing. Absolutely.
Thank you so very much. Again, I want you to give out that website. We have run out of time, but I want you to take the time to give out that website if the listening audience would like to donate to the 514 Survivors Fund.
Yes, they can look up under the National Compassion Fund.org, and when you get there, you can go to the 514 Survivors Fund for Buffalo, New York, for the mass shooting, and you can give at that time. We want to encourage everyone. Families are still hurting. Community is still hurting, and give and help support the families. It's very important that we continue to give them support. So thank you very much.
Reverend Mark Blue, thank you so very much. Stay well.
You as well.
All right. There you have it. Thank you all for listening to us on this Sunday afternoon. Cheryl Wilkerson, appreciating you as always. You all be safe, and we'll talk again next week. Take care. Bye-bye.